What is the difference between learning a language and learning a subject like history or maths? Why do most learners find it so hard to understand Dutch when native speakers talk? Why does it sound too fast, and are they really speaking that fast? If you have asked yourself these questions, you are already beginning to understand where real language learning starts. Because every learner, at some point, has felt that confusion. You study hard, memorize words, even pass small tests, but the moment you hear a native speaker, everything feels different. The words you learn seem to melt together. You can recognize them on paper, but not in real life. And when you try to speak, your mind knows the answer, but your mouth cannot follow fast enough. That is not because Dutch is difficult. It is because language learning was never meant to be done like a school subject. Language is sound, rhythm, and muscle memory. It is a living skill, something you do, not something you just know. And that is exactly where we begin. CEFR Level A1 is the first step in your Dutch learning journey. It means you can understand and use familiar, everyday expressions and very basic phrases, the kind you need to meet simple, concrete needs. You can introduce yourself and others, and you can ask and answer questions about where you live, who you know, and what you have. You can talk about daily routines, numbers, time, food, weather, and family. A1 also means that communication is shared. You will be able to communicate when native speakers slow down, repeat, or use simpler words to help you understand, and that is perfectly fine. A1 is not about speaking fast or sounding fluent, it is about connection. You learn to listen calmly, respond clearly, and keep simple conversations going. At Hexallt, our A1 course is designed exactly for this. You will learn to converse on over 35 essential everyday topics, from greetings and numbers to describing people, places, and daily life. Every topic builds your ear, your voice, and your confidence. By the end of Level A1, you will be able to introduce yourself naturally, handle basic conversations in shops, hospitals, and travel situations, and begin to think in Dutch without translating. For a complete overview of all lessons and progress goals, you can explore the full syllabus on our learning portal. In subjects like history or maths, you remember facts or apply rules. But a language is completely different. It does not live in your memory the same way. It lives in your ears, your muscles, and your reactions. When you learn a language, it is not only your mind that is working, it is your mouth, your tongue, your hearing, even your rhythm. It is more like learning to drive or to swim than studying from a book. You do not learn to drive by reading a manual. You learn by doing it again and again until your hands, your eyes, and your feet just know what to do. That is how language works too. You cannot become fluent by memorizing. You become fluent by building muscle memory, sound recognition, rhythm, and automatic response through consistent exposure and guided practice. The more often you hear and repeat correctly, the more your brain and body remember what to do until it becomes natural. So, how do we solve all these problems at once? Let us look at them together. At Hexallt, we begin with sound, with hearing and understanding Dutch. Every new sound, word, and phrase is introduced with native pronunciation. You see the syllable division, you learn how each part connects in real speech, and you understand usage, tone, and formality, what fits where, and what does not. For example, when you are introduced to a new word such as tomorrow, we do not just tell you what it means. We show you how it is spoken, divided into syllables. Now, let us see how a breakdown works. The syllables will be divided and given as follows. To, mo, ro. Now, say it together. To, mo, ro. Tomorrow. You hear each part slowly, then together at natural speed. We also explain the usage, the level of formality, the cultural context, and the common mistakes to avoid for that word, so you know when and how to use it naturally. Instead of hearing Dutch as one long stream, you start recognizing clear units of sound. Your brain stops guessing and starts predicting. That is when Dutch stops feeling fast and begins to make sense. Every sound you hear comes from native Dutch speech, ensuring your brain forms the right sound patterns from day one, before incorrect pronunciation habits can begin. You will also have your own small pronunciation micro-libraries, where each word is stored with its native sound, syllable break, and examples, so you can revisit and practice anytime. The next step is speaking, the part most learners find hardest. The most common problem we see is this: you understand, but you cannot speak. That is why our sessions are built entirely around active practice and correction. You will receive the lesson content and listening material before class, so the live session is focused on speaking, correcting, and improving. You listen, you speak, you repeat, and you adjust in real time. Mistakes are corrected immediately, so they never become habits. We also bring writing back into language learning, not as a school task, but as a memory tool. You write each new word as you say it, connecting sound, spelling, and movement for deeper retention. That constant cycle of practice, reflection, and correction builds real fluency, not just knowledge, but reflex. But language is not just about words. It is also culture, manners, and connection. Every Hexallt lesson includes the cultural meaning and etiquette behind what you learn. You will know when to use a phrase formally or casually, how to greet someone correctly, and which expressions sound natural in daily life. You will also read short, meaningful texts where new words appear in context, helping you understand academic and everyday vocabulary naturally without translation. These cultural and contextual insights make your Dutch authentic, respectful, and confident, so you do not just speak correctly, you speak appropriately. All of this comes together through something we call cognitive scaffolding. It simply means your brain connects every new pattern to what it already knows. Each step, hearing, speaking, and culture, supports the next. Nothing feels random or rushed. You build Dutch like a structure, layer by layer, calmly and confidently. We follow a simple path. Step 1: listen first. Train your ear to hear real Dutch rhythm. Step 2: mirror and repeat. Practice with your mouth and muscles until it feels natural. Step 3: apply and reinforce. Use what you learn in guided practice so understanding becomes automatic. When you learn this way, everything connects. You hear better, you speak faster, and you understand more easily. Dutch no longer sounds fast or foreign. You stop memorizing and start responding naturally. That is how real fluency begins, with calm, focus, and connection. We are not just solving one problem, we are solving all of them: the speed, the speaking, and the cultural gap, all at once. When you learn this way, Dutch stops being a puzzle. It becomes a skill that grows with every practice, every sound, and every connection. Welcome to Hexallt Dutch School, where clarity begins with calm. Start Dutching today.